Well, thank you very much, dear friends. I am really grateful to Professor Macmillan, to Martin Davidson, and to my friend Les Bettel for the invitation to speak about the challenges facing human rights in the global era at the annual Sérgio Vieira de Mello lecture. Sérgio's entire life was dedicated to the ideals of human rights and humanitarian work. For him, freedom and human dignity were the foundations of peace and justice. Sergio was courageous and compassionate, bold but also pragmatic, often at the frontiers or at front lines, but always taking the side of the weak, the vulnerable, the powerless. Uncompromising in his principles, but with a gift for listening and learning from those he worked with. And he had the capacity to combine a maximum flexibility in dealing with the complexities of real-life situations with a strong commitment to basic values. This allowed him to stand unequivocally on the side of the victims while taking to all the parties involved. Perhaps this is as close as one can get to being a practitioner of what I could call the art of politics, as the title of my last book. This combination of vision and pragmatism, flexibility in the means, and consistency on the goals. From Cambodia to Bosnia, Rwanda to Kosovo, East Timor to Iraq, Sergio came to grips with some of the most dreadful conflicts of the last decade. By the way, I have been to Timor when Sergio was there. Sergio was the United Nations representative. It was really something very impressive to see this man, as has been said by Leslie, a handsome, a beautiful man, and totally devoted to his duties there, and talking to everyone in Timor. At that time, Timor was still very poor, and the situation was unstable. I was yet president, so it was impossible to receive me in Timor because without any hotel or the thing to stay there. So in order to offer me a lunch, we had to move to a booth. You see, it was there for a long time because it was so scarce of means, the situation in Timor. It is really something very impressive to see how Sergio was moving ahead. I went to see different places in Timor. I went to see schools in Timor. I went to see priests in Timor. You see, and also the effort have been made to try to teach Portuguese to people in Timor because they were not able to speak Portuguese correctly. They just have to adapt some grammar in order to ease the process of educating Timor people into Portuguese. And to me it was wonderful because my wife was at the time very active in trying to face the problem of illiteracy in Brazil, and she creates an organization named Community Solidarity. And this organization was there in Timor, trying to also to help what has been done in Timor. And Sergio was all time there. So to me, it's really not just something that I'm saying because I have to give you a lecture, but something that I feel profoundly because I saw how Sergio was capable to motivate people and to take the leadership in very difficult situations. So let me say to you that as I said, from Cambodia to Bosnia, Rwanda, Kosovo, East Timor, Sergio came to the grips with some of the most dreadful conflicts of the last decades. Time and again, he was confronted with life and death, questions for which there were no easy answers. How to balance the obligation to protect the victims with the denunciation of human rights violations? What kinds of compromise are or are not acceptable to minimize human suffering? At what point pragmatism becomes complacency with the unacceptable? When is dialogue no longer an option and the aggressor has to be engaged despite the risk that in the short term the level of violence may increase? How to define this moment in which, faced with massive human rights abuse and crimes against humanity, it is legitimate to use force in the pursuit of peace? Sergio felt that the way forward was always to invent on the spot the most appropriate set of ground rules. He urged the international community to acknowledge that flagrant and systematic violations of human rights are frequently the main cause of global insecurity. He was also convinced that top-down approaches are bound to fail. Outsiders can help. Money, technical expertise, political pressure are important tools. But no lasting outcome can be attained without the empowerment of local leaders and the building of local capacities. Human rights as democracy are a human invention. It is not a given, but a construction rooted in the history and culture of each society. They are never defined once and for all as an expression of human needs, and as a result of human action, their framing is a work in progress, an unfinished journey. New questions and demands arise out of an ever-evolving political and social landscape. That is why I believe that addressing some of the key challenges to human rights in today's world is a fitful way to pay tribute to the ideals that inspired Sérgio Vieira de Mello's life. I will focus on 5 critical challenges. The first one, and perhaps the most complex of all, is the tension between universal human rights and respect for cultural and religious diversity. Human rights are universal, interrelated, and indivisible, but the world is more than ever multipolar and multicultural. Hence the paradox we are confronted with. How to ensure that respect for diversity does not lead to the uncritical acceptance of religious fundamentalism. How far the tolerance of intolerance can go without negating itself. What are the precious core values that must be safeguarded in any situation? It is true there is no straight answer to this.